In this video, we'll go through the steps to set up and assemble your AnthroDesk single motor programmable standing desk and show you just how easy it can be to have the option of standing while you work for improved health and productivity. If at any point you have any questions, you can call us on our toll-free number 1-800-267-1783 and one of our support staff will be happy to talk to you.
Let's get started. First of all, find an open space where you can work, ideally where your desk will end up being located. Take all the components out of the large box that your desk came in. Take special note of these two small cardboard boxes that came with your desk. These boxes have all the hardware and electrical components that you will need to assemble your desk.
We're going to start with the long support tube shown here, and we're going to use the large Allen key shown here to unscrew and loosen the 4 set screws of the long support tube. This will enable us to pull the support tube apart so that we can attach the legs in the next step.
Position the legs at the ends of the extended support tube. There are openings, as shown here, on the extended support tube where you will insert and tighten the connecting screws that will bind the support tube to the legs. This is a close-up of the opening at the end of the support tube. On each side, there will be 3 screws. As shown here, 2 of the screws are the round-headed M810 machine screws. The end screw is the flat-headed M88 screw with the washer. You will tighten all of these with the large Allen key. Once the 6 screws connecting the support bar to the legs are tightened, you can then adjust the width of the support bar and tighten the set screws that you previously loosened. You will normally want the overall width to be slightly less than the tabletop size. For example, if you had a 48-inch by 30-inch tabletop, the overall width could be 45 inches. Set the width and then tighten the set screws that you loosened previously.
For the next step, we'll be connecting side support frame bars and the base feet as shown here. Carefully positioning the frame upside down, you will next connect the side frame support bars with 4 of the M810 round-headed machine screws as shown here.
Normally, the side support bars are mounted centered to the legs. However, there is an option to shift the side support bars up and mount them off-center using the extra hole provided. You would only do this if you wanted to counteract some extreme weight on the tabletop. For example, if you had several monitors attached to the back of a tabletop, you could have the tabletop shifted more to the front to balance that weight. And now onto the base feet support. These base supports will use the M8 long round-headed machine screws. All 8 will be used to connect the base supports to the legs. First, align the 4 holes on each of the supports with the threaded holes in the legs, and then using the Allen key, tighten the long M8 machine screws down into the legs. Next, the glide levelers can be threaded into the base supports. Final adjustment of the levelers can be made once your desk is turned upright and in the permanent position. Unevenness in the floor can be compensated by making slight adjustments to the levelers to make sure that the desktop is level. Also note, if you opted for the casters as an additional accessory instead of the levelers, these are the same threaded holes that you would use to insert your casters. Casters can be used to raise your desk and to make it mobile. Next, with some help, very carefully and very slowly turn your desk upright. We will now be installing and adjusting the main hex drive bar, as shown here. You will use the small Allen key and loosen all the set screws on the drive bar. Then you will install the hex bar as shown here, one side connecting to the leg, the other side connecting to the drive shaft coming out of the motor. Once it is extended and installed, you will then retighten the set screws that you loosened previously, as shown here. Note that there may be some spare set screws included with your hardware in case you lose any of them while loosening and tightening. You are now ready to connect the electrical components and test your desk. Here you can see the power adapter and the handset, which you will connect. The handset only has two connections you will need to make, as shown here. One will connect into the motor, the other will connect into the power adapter. After that, you're ready for a quick test. Plug in your power adapter and you should see the handset light up. Do a quick test pressing the up and down buttons to make sure that the motor engages and your desk raises and lowers. Now you're ready to install the tabletop. As a safety precaution, make sure the power adapter is unplugged until the desktop is installed and the handset is attached. For standard desktop installation, you will need a drill and the desktop screws that came with your tabletop. For basic laminate tabletop surfaces, a portable drill will work just fine. For heavier, more dense solid wood tabletops, you will need a drill bit to make pilot holes first. However, with the standard laminate tops, you will not need to make a pilot hole and you can drive the screws directly into the tabletop. You will use the drill to drive the screws connecting the frame to the tabletop using the frame mount holes as shown here. Finally, use the drill and the two small wood screws to attach the handset to the tabletop. It can be attached on the right or the left and is usually mounted flush to the tabletop surface. You can now plug your desk back in and start using it. To set the preset heights, raise or lower your desk to the desired height and then press one of the M keys for 5 seconds to program that current height into memory. Congratulations! You're now ready to begin your journey of improved health and productivity with an AnthroDesk standing desk. Again, if you do have any questions, you can always reach out to us on our toll-free number 1-800-267-1783.